Warning: the following program may contain material not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Kill the noise and cut the static. Broadcasting from high in the mountains of West Virginia, we're leaving the 9 to 5 in the rearview mirror. The engine is warm, the lights are green, and it's finally time to shift your Wednesday into overdrive. And now, here's your host, Diego the Podcaster.
On this episode of Bonus Overdrive Wednesday, our guest is a devoted enthusiast of interactive and cinematic entertainment, with a particular affinity for video games like Mortal Kombat and Doom, and classic 80s films such as Ghostbusters and Big Trouble in Little China. These passions often serve as a backdrop to his writing, which spans the wild genres of horror, science fiction, and thrillers. All this plus more. Please welcome our good friend, the man behind Frightreads. He's Baltimore's favorite son, author, Harry Carpenter. Harry, my friend, welcome back to Bonus Overdrive Wednesday.
Well, thank you for having me. I don't know if I'm Baltimore's favorite son, but I'll take it for now.
Well, I mean, I hear your name more than anybody else lately, so we're gonna go with that.
And, we'll see. I'm waiting on the Best of Baltimore magazine. I was nominated as Best of Baltimore author, so I'm sure by the time this airs, I don't even know when the results will hit, but fingers crossed. Still waiting for it. Yeah.
Good luck, man. I knew something was happening. I knew it.
Yeah.
You're always up to a lot of things. You know, we got a couple of books coming out. Frightreads is coming up. Let's start with Frightreads, because last year I went to that event, and I don't travel a lot.
Yeah.
But I was told Frightreads is the event to. If you go to any event in the year, go to Frightreads. Everybody there was friendly. Some of the authors came on the show. I got to finally meet you in person.
Yeah.
And my goodness, what a turnout. So let's talk about Frightreads 2026.
When you rolled up to me to talk to me for a second and introduce yourself in person, that's I know you saw the look on my face. Everything's on fire, and I think I was headed off to sign my books at my table, and I happened to cross paths with you right then and there. But yeah, it was 25 was absolutely just a lot. I don't have a better or worse word for it. It was a lot. We went from the sports center, which was a little itty bitty building, by contrast alone. Sports center was big enough as is. We went to the fairgrounds, and we gained a lot of square footage. So we were learning a lot of things and figuring out what we can do and what we can't do, which is where we're at now. We tweaked a couple of things and coming at this thing even crazier. I'm sure you saw in your travels, we had that big main stage, and we had live music, and we had the stage plays and all this other crazy stuff going on. One of the complaints that I received was we didn't have enough programming opportunities. I mean, it really runs from 12 to 6, and I don't want to run programming at 12:01. So I kind of let it go for an hour. So we start at 1 and we kind of end at 5:30. So that way everybody can shop and do what they need to do and break down, cover their tables, whatever. So I have another stage. So now we have 2 stages. Obviously the food truck situation was crazy. If you try to get a hot dog from Catalyst, it's well worth the wait, but, absolutely insane to stand in line for a hot dog all day. So we got a couple of different food trucks now. So we're going to have a couple of spots. Deli-ish, who's actually been fantastic since we met them. We tried to get them to be at our event a few years ago, but county licensing and everything said otherwise. But I was like, hey, we're at the fairgrounds now. Let's go. So I got them, and I got a coffee truck. Because besides booze, I mean, coffee's the other fuel for most creative writing. So we got a coffee truck out there and a root beer truck. So we're gonna have a good amount of food and drinks going on. So that's kind of fixing that problem. But yeah, outside of that, anybody that came last year, it's going to be bigger and better than it was last year. And if it's their first year, This is a different experience. If you've been to a Comic-Con, if you've been to a convention or a festival, or even like just a, I'm not gonna say a fly-by-night street festival, but like a like those little pop-up book fairs that are just on a street block or something. This isn't it. This is a whole different thing. This is almost in its own category. And like you were saying, with everybody just being awesome and friendly, I mean, it just happens to be that right environment. Nobody's grumpy, nobody's in a bad mood. The vibe is just right. And this year is going to be an absolutely great vibe. It was so good that we're bringing Jane Jensen back. She was fantastic last year. If you didn't get to hear her acoustic set of a lot of her major motion picture soundtrack songs, for those that don't know, Jane Jensen, she was more like visually known for being Juliet in Tromeo and Juliet. But audibly, she's known for doing just about every James Gunn movie soundtrack, and a few others here and there. But I'd say if it's a James Gunn movie, there's a chance that Jane's music is in there somewhere, all the way up to the most recent Superman. I think Fast Girl USA. I'm sure she'll be in Supergirl somewhere. Her tunes will be playing on Supergirl's headphones or something, wherever it lands. But she wanted to come back. She was just like, oh my God, I've never done a convention before, and this was fantastic. So we were her first experience in the world. She loved it. We did that, bringing her back. Got a couple of cool authors that we're bringing through. We're bringing back Heather Graham because she had to cancel last year due to a family emergency. So we're going to bring her back with her amazing mystery books. So a couple of things that we're going to try to bring back for anybody that missed it last year that just went, oh, rats. We're giving you a second chance to meet some of these great people. While we can't bring everybody back all over again, because that would just be silly. This year, my favorite thing to advertise for the 2026 year is, I'm like, you guys should come to the coolest horror book festival around. We have somebody from A Christmas Story, somebody from Step Up, and somebody from Pitch Perfect. That's scary right there. And I love that these people have been in properties that are like awesome horror movies, but they're also in these other movies. So we have the character Scut Farkus from A Christmas Story. So Zach Ward will be with us. He's been in Resident Evil. He's been in, he was the Postal guy. He's been in Freddy versus Jason. I mean, just to name a few. And then you have Hanna Mae, who has been in Pitch Perfect, obviously 1, 2, and 3. She's the creepy girl that whispers all the time and is just unsettling. Like, they always look over at her and she's like, I like to set small fires. So she's a lot of fun. She's also one of the stars in the Babysitter. Have you ever seen that one?
Not yet. I'm going to now.
I think it's on Netflix or something. But they have the first one, and then there's a sequel. It is perfectly campy 80s horror for today. It's a kid, he gets put to bed, and he's got a babysitter. He's very much too old to have a babysitter, let's be honest. He's probably like 15, 16 years old, and there's no need for a babysitter, but his parents need him to have a babysitter. So he gets put to bed, and he routinely goes to bed at the same time. So this is like clockwork. So he goes to bed, and the babysitter invites her friends over, and as you know, cliche babysitter stories go, then they try to do a human sacrifice to summon Satan, I think was the plot. And he catches them, and it all goes awry, and hijinks ensue. It's funny, it's bloody, oh my God, I love it. So we got her, and Chris O'Brockie has been at the event probably 3 or 4 years now. Chris is somebody that you definitely want to put on your roster to talk to. With Shriek Show getting filmed this fall, he's going to have a whole bunch of really awesome things to talk to you about, with, you know, ideas and shooting locations and all of that. But Chris O'Brockie's first movie, while he's the ringmaster, the head spooky dude in Shriek Show, he was in Step Up. That was his first movie with Channing Tatum. So it's a lot of fun. Then I got these goofy offshoot, just to name a few, and then rolling back the clock from something not as recent. Sharon Smythe from What We Do in the Shadows, the other one, Dark Shadows. From Dark Shadows, not the Johnny Depp one, the original black and white television show. That's going to be awesome because that's kind of in line with like having the Cannonball Run, Tara Buckman, like just an odd duck to have from, you know, a different era, but she's going to be awesome and fit in with everybody just all the same.
And talk about all not only just the authors, you also have the celebrities, you have the actors, filmmakers. You're one person. How are you handling all this?
I don't know. I have no idea. There's a lot of stress, crying, screaming into the void, you know, various things of that nature. I don't know. It's me dealing with the emails, the invoicing, the planning, the graphics, the website, the social media. I mean, if it's short of the day of and you see another physical body doing something, I'm pretty much behind it. Yeah, it's hard. I don't know how I do it. I thrive in chaos and I get it done.
I mean, not only are you putting the events, you're also writing, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about later about an audiobook that you're getting ready to record. Now, going back to Fright Reads,
Yeah.
you don't have to name the names of the celebrities. Are you still waiting on some people to respond? Is there room to add more?
So where we're at right now, I think this is about capacity, at least in terms of the people I want to wrangle down. The other problem is when you get something that's too oversaturated, you get an event that has 20, 30, 40 celebrities, your demographic starts to swing in terms of the attendees. Now, for me as the event runner, I'd love everybody to come through that door, buy tickets, and come in. At the end of the day, it is a book festival. It is something for the authors to be showcased. The last thing I want are people coming in and standing in line for 6-7 hours to meet celebrity X and never buying a book, never buying a piece of art, jewelry, taxidermy, whatever weird stuff I got going on in there. I want them to actually, instead of doing the celebrity ride, you know, the line ride, I want them to be able to meet like a celebrity or two that they didn't think that they needed to meet that day. I always say it's that philosophy of, well, it'd be rude not to because they're here. You know, it's a show that I like. I didn't know that I needed a signature, but here we are. But it's not something that is the driving factor. The driving factor is that you're coming in to be immersed in this world that has, I mean, I think I'm at 100 and some odd independent authors. And I've had people like, whoa, can you get better authors? I'm like, define better. You have people that are actively in the community writing their books and wanting to sell them to you. It's, you know, I would love to have Stephen King hang out with us. And I know that's always once I try to dig in and I say, well, define who you want. Like who could, you probably couldn't get Stephen King, but you know, and it's like, yeah, there's more in this world than just the King. There's so many great authors, and in the past we've had the talented Ronald Malfi, we've had Adam Caesar, we've had Jeff Strand, Bridget Nelson, all the A.G. Mock is coming back again this year. So we have all these talented names that have been, you know, on the tongues of people. They've been, you know, showcased at the Barnes and Nobles and Books of Millions of the world. You know, do you mean that people that have had movies made of their stuff? Because they're also in there. I mean, Adam's definitely, you know, kind of on the top tier of that because he had Clown in a Cornfield drop. But, you know, there's a lot of people in there that are script writers and filmmakers, and we have so much different stuff. Like, there's no reason to go, well, they don't have this big draw. Find your next author, you know, the 85, 90-year-old author that you've been reading since you were a kid isn't going to be writing forever. So you may want to find the next person to pick up the torch. What better place? Not to sound morbid and, you know, bring the vibe.
I get it.
No, but that's the truth of the matter. I mean, there's a reason why we're not watching the TV sitcoms of the 50s and 60s, because all of those actors, writers, directors, and developers of the show are no longer here. But you have sitcoms for today that are in the same vein or whatever, and you have people that are inspired. They grew up watching those, so they write television shows that are similar to, like, for example, like Family Guy is an over-the-top exaggeration of All in the Family. Even the opening is making fun of the Archie and Edith piano duet. It's there. It's just for a different generation. That's the way the writing is. It's going to be there. You're going to have something that's written for today. You're going to have different themes and different vibes. I love it. I mean, I've been exposed to so much, because if you would ask me 15, 20 years ago, name 10 authors in horror, I would have said Stephen King, R.L. Stein, and I would have been fighting for, to get, once I got past 3 or 4, I'm done. I couldn't tell you, 5 or 6 more, let alone the first 4. So it's a great place to, as I say, find your next favorite author. There's no better place to do it. Find your next favorite author. There's dozens of people in there to check out. And if you don't like what one's writing, you just keep walking. No harm done. Take a free bookmark. Go to the
no
next
harm,
one.
no foul, as they say.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to agree with you, because I can disagree, because there's always something there for everybody. You had a very even mix of authors and celebrities and things like that. Had I not witnessed this, I would not have believed it. But people were walking out of there with stacks of books.
The wagons, dude. The wagons. That's what blows my mind. I will see a little red wagon with its wheels just hurting. They're like bowed out. And I'm just like, you can make multiple trips. And they're like, I know, this is my 3rd trip. And I'm like, oh my God, this is your 3rd trip and the wagon looks like this? You either need a better wagon, or, really, really, restrain yourself just a little, please. And I'm telling you this, I'm encouraging you to please spend money at this event, but also please restrain yourself. But there was one when we were at the sports center. This wagon was just, the wheels were just like whack, whack, whack every rotation. And it was just like, it was dying. Like they had to take it out and shoot it when they were done. That it was hurting that bad. But it's wild that people are spending that much time and effort looking at artwork and buying books and buying crafted creatables and things that, not to say you can just go on Amazon and you can just get most of our books on Amazon, but there's something different about meeting the author, hearing their pitch, their enthusiasm for the story. And, maybe you get something different than what the Amazon blurb says, or the Barnes and Noble, the back of the book says. You get a little something different. So I don't know. It is. And you saw it in person. You saw these people just armloads, like just hurting, just like just one more book, just one more. And it's impressive. And I don't see that at a lot of conventions, like just generic conventions, whether they're horror, fantasy, sci-fi, nerdy comic book ones. It's not a bookseller's industry in those places oftentimes. And you would think with being oversaturated with so many authors in one building, we would all be talking over each other and just out competing each other, and nobody would be buying anything, which is the exact opposite. It's just a wild phenomenon.
It is. And now, if I'd have missed it in the beginning of the interview, when is the date for Frightreads this year?
I was gonna say, I don't think we covered that date. It's a mystery. You'll have to find out. Solve the following clues. So we're going to be back at the Howard County Fairgrounds in Howard County, Maryland. It's going to be October 24th and 25th, from 12 to 6 both days. Kids 12 and under are still free, and tickets are on the website on frightreads.com, which is down there somewhere, rolling by eventually. But yeah, frightreads.com for all the guests, the authors, the vendors, eventually our programming. I know the next thing on the docket is, what do we got slated? So the next thing that's going live will be the film theater. Things Forsaken is sponsoring once again the Frightreads Film Theater, presented by Things Forsaken. And if you did you get to check with those guys? They had the motorcycle in the corner. Did you get to chat with them?
I did not, unfortunately.
Fix that this year. You got to talk to them. Ference and his team are next level. You want to talk to remember the beer commercial for what was it? Dos Equis, the most interesting man in the world.
Yes.
Ference is more interesting. This man has seen and done it. He's a prop maker. They have a web series. They make short films. He used to like carve out of like stone. I mean, he does so much stuff. Like this guy is like next level. So you definitely need to put him on your on your docket for chatting with. But they have a short film, so they're sponsoring the theater. So up the hill a ways, we're gonna have 4 movies play, maybe 5 if I can squeeze it in, and we're gonna have these independent filmmakers show their stuff. One of the ones that I'm excited for is The Night Watchman. Have you had the pleasure of that hilarious movie?
I have
silly.
not.
It's on Amazon and Tubi, whichever you prefer. It's a bunch of guys that work at an office building overnight. They're the night watchmen, and they get a special delivery that was delivered wrong, and it turns out to be the body of a dead clown that had his tour ended in Transylvania because they found him dead, drained of all his blood. If that isn't the biggest triple underlined vampire movie foreshadowing, I mean, they're very obvious with it. Well, what happens is obviously, ooh, gasp, the body comes back to life, is a vampire, and the vampires are now running amok in the office building, and they're trying to fight them. Oh, it's hilarious.
I love when things run amok.
Oh man, this is the movie. Every vampire death had me in tears. I was laughing so hard. This is something you definitely should pregame and pre-watch so you know who you got to go find. But they're going to be showing their movie and doing a little bit of Q&A after. We're going to have a couple of the cast and crew, either writers, directors, actors, whoever comes down. And then we're doing the same thing for Things Forsaken and a few others. It's just awesome. You get to sit in there. The best part is it's included with the ticket. You can go up there, sit in for a movie, watch it for 10 minutes and go, yes, I'm going to watch this at home. This is my jam. Or I'm going to go back to their table and buy the DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. Some of them have VHS. Somebody had VHS last year as a novelty, and I was like, I dig it. I respect it. I just can't recommend it enough to just pop in and take 15 minutes, sit in the air-conditioned theater, which is, I don't know, a glorified cafeteria, and watch some of a movie, and then go down and meet the cast and crew afterwards. So we got a lot of stuff. There's so much going on. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's an action-packed day, my friend. And speaking of action-packed, 2 days. Yes, right.
Yeah.
And this is my poor example of a segue. Let's talk about action-packed. Let's talk about Nightmares Unbound, because when I had you on last year, you were either finished writing it and you were either editing or getting ready to release it. But now is it out now, ready to go, ready to rock?
Dude, it's been out since Frightreads. Frightreads was the official release day. So last year, middle of September, on the September 12th or 13th or whatever it was, that fellow right there released. This is my most favorite book. I don't think I've had as much fun writing something so over the top. And what made this one different was, and I think we got into it last year a little bit with what I was working with, but now that it's out and it's taken its form, it is myself and a bunch of author and artist friends, some of which you've even interviewed, like Brian. And we're at a convention called Nightmares Unbound, and it's this huge book festival, and we're doing what we do everywhere else, as is tradition, standing behind our tables, slinging our wares, and they try to kill us. The lights shut off, and a bunch of crazy cultists pop out, as you can see in the cover, the people with the cloaks on their heads. And that is actually me. And I wear that jersey on Saturdays to events. So it would only be fitting that I would be in that jersey on Saturday of the event going awry. So I actually wear that at events now for real. I make sure I wear it on Saturdays just in case, for consistency. You know, should something go wrong, I want to already be covered in blood. But it is the best description I heard from a review is the book is one part slice of life and one part slice. The whole beginning is getting ready with me, packing for the convention, prepping. We're going to dinner before we all get set up. You know, that kind of stuff. Like getting, I call it the minutia of just existence. And then it's just kind of a lot of foreshadowing and a lot of world building to get to the point of where everything happens, and then it's just it's a body count book. You're just losing people in the worst possible ways, and they're all real people. It's probably my favorite part. So like Brian and Dan Jones and who else is in there? Royal Poff, among others. All these guys are real people. They exist. Kaylin, who does my artwork for Frightreads, she's in there. You know, these are all real people that I get to butcher and maim and bludgeon to my heart's content with their permission, which is my favorite part. They're like, yeah, kill me. This is how I should die, though. So when it came out, it was well received by all of the authors. My favorite thing was when I would get a message and somebody would be like, dude, my scene was awesome. And I mentioned Things Forsaken earlier. Ference is actually one of the characters in the book at his Things Forsaken booth. I changed things from him working with, like, I think concrete and stone to working with like metalworks, because I was like, that has more opportunity than, I don't know, chiseling out a masonry masterpiece. So I have him now with, like, he can fabricate metal. So he has these meat hooks at one point in the scene, which is heavily inspired by Things Forsaken's movie, Faces of the Undead. There's a scene in there that involves meat hooks. And I was like, dude, what if I had him using meat hooks as kind of a nod to the movie and all of that? We had talked a couple months ago, and he got a chance to read it. And he said, I'm in there for such a short blip, and I have the greatest scene ever. His scene is so pivotal, for that matter. I have 2 reviews that mention that by name. That's how intense it was. So I had a blast, and I just love the fact that it doesn't have to be somebody from the inner circle that knows all of these different authors. There are strangers that I've never even met before that have reviewed and read the book, and they love the characters. They think the story's just wild, intense, and just absolutely insane. So much so that I'm working on a sequel.
Amazing. You know, it's interesting. You're getting such feedback. I love the way I died in that scene. And mine was it's gloriously morbid. And you know, hats off to you for doing such as that. Let me ask you this, because I'm gonna. And in my head, as you're talking about deaths in books or horror movies,
Yeah.
one came to mind. One of my favorites. Give me one of your favorites outside of your own that you've written of horror movie kills.
Horror movie kills. Okay, so of favorites, I'm going to have to go with, and I know it's not a popular movie. I think it's kind of redeemed itself over the years, like retroactively has now seated itself among the greats, but Jason X. And it's kind of a 50-50 tie with either the liquid nitrogen deep freeze kill, where he freezes the face and then smashes it on the desk. That's different. How many times can Michael Myers stab a guy? Now he's stabbing him with a knife. Now it's a pitchfork. Now it's a bigger knife. Now, how many times can Jason slash somebody with the machete? It kind of gets old after a while. But Jason X changed the game a little bit and started getting out of the comfort zone of like comfortable kills. So it was the flash freeze kill, and then if you go further in, the guy that gets screwed. I That's the best description I have. He knocks a guy off of a platform. He lands on a giant drill that's facing up, and he just rides the entire drill down. And you watch him from top to bottom till he finishes the entire trip. And I don't know, it's funny to me. It's so stupid that it's comical. You're just watching this guy just and he's there. I think it's a good like 20, 30 seconds watching him spin. And it's just hilarious. And so it just stops the momentum, and you have to watch this, and you just have to take this in. And then I think it's followed closely behind the simulation that they have, where the projection comes up and the two naked girls are like, let's go have unprotected sex and smoke pot. And he picks up their sleeping bags and just smashes it up against the trees. But like that movie right there alone probably had the most unique kills of any movie in that window of time. Like it took us a while to go back to like having stuff that was just, I'm not gonna say impressive, but you were just like, whoa, okay, somebody thought about this. It's one thing to have, your creepy, main man killer just stabbing and slashing mindlessly, but it's another one to have these like elaborate setups, almost Final Destination-esque. And even that kind of got tired after a while. They just stopped having like the big, huge setups and elaborate machinations that they would come up with. But yeah, Jason X has hands down.
It's worth looking at that movie again. I liked it the first time I saw it.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch, but
It's
I'll tell you one of my favorites, and it's not even, is it creative? I think so, but Jason Takes Manhattan, when the guy starts boxing him on top of the building.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then Jason just gives it a real good swing, and the head just goes, whew.
And it's stupid. Yeah.
It is stupid funny.
It is. It's just stupid. It's just like, it's almost like watching that They Live alleyway fight, the 12-minute fight where two guys are just rolling around and punching each other. It's a great fight scene. It's a nonstop fight scene. Hands down, one of the best fight scenes of all time, but not for the right reasons. But stuff like that, sometimes the Sam Raimi over the top buckets of blood thing, where it's just absurd, actually hits better than trying to make it grounded in reality. Yeah. And having Jason, right hook, knock a head off like it's a doll.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the things is this is my opinion. I don't know, maybe you might share the same opinion. A lot of these things, they're not really meant to be taken seriously. They're not glorifying death as entertainment, and it kind of, in a way, makes you feel comfortable with the concept of death. I don't know if that's the thing or not, but it's not meant to be too super serious.
It's not meant to be. You're not watching it for the documentary reason. You're not watching it to go, that's what it would be like to kill somebody with a chainsaw. Yeah, sure, we can imagine that if you take a chainsaw to somebody and you grind into them, that's what it's going to do. But when you have, like I said, the Raimi buckets of blood, where it's just, almost that Mortal Kombat hysterical level of rib cages, where things are just so over the top and silly, you're just like, oh God. It also kind of takes the sting out of it too, because it makes it a little less, I don't know, a little more palatable and a little less of a sting, because you're watching something that's just kind of like, well, you watch, bring up Evil Dead, you watch Bruce Campbell literally cut off his own hand while laughing hysterically, and blood is just spraying everywhere. That much blood would not spray from somebody's wrist. That's a few seconds of maybe the femoral artery or something, but not from a wrist. But it's almost comical, and you're just watching him go through the motions. A lot of times that's better than watching a dark, gritty, almost, real. Yeah. Sometimes it's just appreciated to see something over the top, especially if the story is, if it's too campy, you have to lean into it a certain way. Like Velocipaster. I tell everybody, watch Velocipaster. It's the dumbest movie I think I've ever seen. It's a movie that they started making it and said, actually, it turns out we only have $50 and we're going to have to work with what we have. One of the characters gets beheaded and the velociraptor literally rips the guy's head clean off. And when it gets thrown, it's very clearly a woman's mannequin head and the wig falls off of it. It's just, and you're just watching it going, oh my God, what is wrong with y'all? There's that. And what was the other part? Oh, they have a scene where there's supposed to be an explosion that kills his parents. And that's the backstory. They couldn't afford the special effects is what they say, because they put insert explosion special effects here as the parents go, hi. And they have somebody go kaboom, and nothing's happening. Nothing's on fire. Nothing's chaotic. And it just says insert special effect here. That kind of stuff is hilarious to me, because then you can go ahead and tell your goofy story and have gross dismemberments and stuff like that. And it's all just entertaining.
It is. Now, I can take very creative ways of somebody or a monster doing something to somebody in a horror movie, in a thriller or whatever. I have my limits. For me, nothing with the eyes. Leave the eyes alone.
It's the eyes for you. My wife is it's eyes and teeth. Okay. That's what bothers her. So that's why there's a scene in my book, because I knew she would have to read it first, where somebody literally got I think they described it as what are they? They got the full curb stomps treatment, like completely just like their teeth were on top of a shelf, and got American History X'd. Which my wife has never seen that movie. And I was like, she met Edward Furlong at an event, and I was like, I think you need to watch this movie. I think you need to see this particular scene, because that's that scene, for being like not a horror, that's a pretty gnarly scene. And I referenced it as such. I was like, the American History X curb stomping. And everybody that's seen that movie goes, oh yeah, I know what that is. I don't have anything that really bothers me. I mean, I'm the one that'll just sit there and be like, huh, interesting. Like, we read a book called The Eyes Are the Best Part, which is about a woman that likes to eat eyes.
I'm out.
Oh, I was going to send this book to you. It's perfect for you. Didn't bother me. We had people in the book club that went, and I was like,
All right. Well, let's get to this. Oh, second only. There's another, anything with the schmeckle, that.
Oh, so you didn't like Terrifier 2?
I mean, it's close to home. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't want that. But no, well, for you then, what is your no-go? I mean, you could probably say nothing, but there's got to be one thing. Maybe you'll look away a little bit or something.
Shockingly, I don't. I've seen enough in real life that the stuff in the movies doesn't really, like, my wife will be like, hiding her eyes, and sometimes I'm laughing hysterically, which is probably not okay. But like, I'm over there just chuckling or laughing because it's that over the top, like whatever they're cutting off or sticking in wherever. And I'm just like, oh man, look at that. I don't know. I haven't had anything that had made me genuinely, I think the only thing that made me kind of go, whoa, was the first Terrifier, when the lady was upside down and got sawed in half. I don't know if you've seen that, but
no, that sounds like very Caligula-ish.
It was rough. Like, even for me, I was just like, whoo, that's because it was just the amount of time they spent with it with a hacksaw, and just like there was substance to what he was doing, and you're just like, oh man.
Well,
but yeah, I don't know. Nothing really. Yeah. I don't think there's anything really that is too over the top for me.
When that day comes, call me.
I will let you know.
They finally got you, brother.
Yeah, I will let you know.
Oh, please do. I'm looking forward to hearing about that eventually in a few more years. So now, Nightmares Unbound. It's been out since last year. Go
Yep.
ahead and download it and buy it. It'll be at Frightreads. You'll autograph. You'll take pictures with the fans.
Yeah.
I had a picture taken with you, and that I'm gonna bring this right up one more time. This right here, the jersey, that's real
Yeah.
deal. You do own that. It looks
Yeah.
very real.
Actually, getting that one, I'm going to probably have that updated for the next event, where the front will say Nightmares Unbound, because I've had that long before that book was thought of. And it's my name on the back, and it just says 13. I'll probably keep everything the same, just change Nightmares Unbound on the front, and on the sleeve where the team logo would be, I might put my little cartoon version of me, just to make it more me.
It wouldn't be you if it wasn't bloody, brother. So
Right.
it's going to look very well. Now let's move into something you've worked with your friend, your partner. Let's talk howlers.
Howlers. How about that song though? You got to start with the song, because you got to start with where it started from. Hip Hop McDougal. They're playing this year also, and if you got to come to Frightreads on Saturday, make sure you sit down for Hip Hop McDougal's performance. So Brian messaged me one day, and he said, "Hey, I have these guys, Hip Hop McDougal, and I think they'd be a great fit for Frightreads. They do really nerdy rap songs." And I was like, "All right, whatever." And he sends me a link, and it was to Howlers. And I remember I replied back to him, and I said, "That was the stupidest song I've ever listened to 97 times on repeat." And it has no right to be as good as it is. It really doesn't. Like, it's basically, if you took the Monster Squad rap and Thriller, and they had a baby about werewolves, that's what you would have. That's what Howlers sounds like. So they have in order for them to promote it as the official motion picture soundtrack of Howlers, which is a movie that doesn't exist, they had to actually create the motion picture. So they filmed a bunch of scenes that got acted out, which are lyrics from the songs, and they put it into a music video, which is a long extended video, like Thriller or something. And me and Brian got talking one day after we had, sealed the deal on Howlers and everything, and we thought, yeah, we're going to have Hip Hop McDougal at the event. We got talking. He says, we should make this a book. And I was like, yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And I was more like, you should definitely do this. And he said, yeah, I'm gonna basically do the novelization. And it's the 39th anniversary, because it's been 39 years since the fake date that they released it. So it was kind of funny to make it the 39th anniversary, not like the 40th or 50th or a normal number. So this year technically would be the 40th anniversary of the fake movie Howlers. So Brian called me and said, all right, I think I'm going to scrap the idea of the novel. And I think I just want to do like a tongue-in-cheek satire and do like Spinal Tap. That was his inspiration. He wants to do like a Spinal Tap thing, where it's an interview with different people. It's people that are affiliated with, with the band and all of that. In this case, it would be the cast and crew of the film. And I said, well, why don't you do both? Why don't you just intersperse each chapter with a cast and crew interview? And I had the distinct pleasure of not only writing the introduction to the book, I got to be the entire cast and crew, with the exception of one or two people, including Hip Hop McDougal as the soundtrack, the score, soundtrack and score, or whatever their credit was. It's stupid, it's silly, and I love it. It's one of my favorite things that I've done. And I remember we set up the interviews in such a way where Brian came over my house, brought a microphone and his computer, and said, I have interview questions. I'm going to ask you questions, and you give me very candid, on-the-spot answers. And I said, all right, let's do it. And I came up with different dialects and different accents and everything. I really became the characters just on our stupid little recording. And there was one that was so bad. It was Wonder Wolves Incorporated. All we were told was, it's Wonder Wolves Incorporated, and they are the animal handlers. And we're just assuming, I don't know, wolves or whatever they would have on set. I I basically turned him into Siegfried and Roy with a splash of Flula Borg. So I was like, well, how about we just make this like very eccentric Austrian German type that he has the wolves, and I got to have so much fun with him. That Brian, when he was getting to do the audiobook, he did a bunch of interviews with people and had them audition, and nobody could hit the level of stupid that I was going for. They would read it so normal, and they would read it and they go, "Hi, I'm here with the owner and proprietor of Wonder Wolves Incorporated." And they'd be like, "Yes, hi, how are you?" And it's like, nope, that's not what we're going for. No, what me and Brian set up was, "Hi, I'm here with the owner and operator of Wonder Wolves Incorporated." Yeah, the Wonder Wolves. Yeah, the Wonder Wolves is a very good company. We have all these wolves, and they are very good creatures. And that was the sound that he wanted to hear. And he went through like a dozen auditions, and he's like, "I need you to do it." So I did the interview portion of the Howler's audiobook, and Hip Hop McDougal, I think it was Julian or one of the two of them, did the narration portion. So it's a lot of fun. So it's very, very, very self-contained, in-house meta. Hip Hop McDougal is also narrating it. They're the inspiration for the story, and I'm the other half of the narration. It's a lot of fun. And it's about to be blunt, it's a half the story is a werewolf movie, a really bad one, and the other half is the very terrible experience of making said werewolf movie.
But it's got a lot of layers to it.
There's so much going on, and there's a lot of stuff. Somebody said, sounds like it's kind of like American Werewolf vibes, and it's like, yeah, that's why it takes place near Landis Lake. We know all of this stuff is there. We have references from The Howling. We have references from, just about every werewolf film of the era. We know what we were doing. Hip hop
Easter, yes. There's a lot of Easter eggs there for everybody who loves that kind of stuff. And you're the master of it now. With both books out and a lot of the work that you're putting in, now you're doing an audiobook, playing yourself as yourself in your own voice, of course.
I'm a dude playing a dude that's playing another dude.
I was trying to get there, and it escaped me. Thank goodness I have you here. Yeah. And I feel like a real, I can't say, I don't want to say the word. What are you going to be doing next? Because I know you're always up to something. I know you're doing all these things. You got Frightreads, you're booking the things. Along comes some guy like me saying, "So what are you doing next?" So what are you doing next?
So, as if I don't have enough on my plate. I actually just I'm buying a cover for a book for another idea that I came up with upon seeing the cover idea, and I was like, I can write a story around that. Give me that cover, I'll take it. So I have right now, most of the way done is I went out to Las Cruces, New Mexico last year, just after Frightreads, visit some in-laws and do a book signing and all the other good stuff out there. There's a town called it's Old Mezilla Valley. It's historic New Mexico. It's old time. It's kind of like up here if you go to like any of the historic districts, like you go to historic Ellicott City, you go to historic Alexandria, wherever, whatever respective areas, historic Annapolis. We have all these like historic locations. Well, this is very, very Mexican Wild Westy vibes. And it's the town where they actually caught and executed Billy the Kid. So that's kind of cool. And I was like, I'm going to write a ghost story, using my wife and her family as kind of the inspiration for the characters. And it's more or less leans into almost the poltergeist vibe. It's the you move the headstones but not the bodies type of vibe. And that's where I'm going to lead you down, but it turns out it's going to be something different. It'll be a lot of fun. So I have that. That one's called Ghosts of Mezilla. I don't know if that'll be out by September. We'll see. But I am still working on that. I have Nightmares Unbound 2. Working on that. So spoiler, I survived the first book. The the story picks up a little bit later, a couple years later, after the terrible incident that happened in the book. If you look at it in real life, like I lost friends, it's devastating, it's traumatic, et cetera, et cetera. I stopped doing conventions. I stopped doing book signings. I keep everything to a bare minimum. I am terrified to get involved in anything. So I start to miss the idea. So I come up with the idea, what if I ran my own book festival? Now we're coming full circle with the Frightreads thing. So now I'm going to be super hands-on. Nothing gets past me. I am in charge. I know who's coming through the doors, who's doing everything. And then, of course, inevitably, it all happens again. And now I have new people to kill and, new stakes. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I have that. And then, I don't know, some retro 80s story that I might work on.
Oh no, I'm definitely in line for that one. There's always new people to kill, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's the beauty of the thing. And I know we're gonna get going here in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I just recently did an episode, and I asked a few of my friends, authors, friends of the red horror and fantasy and genres like that.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna put you on the spot, but I'm just gonna ask you these questions, and I know you have answers. I did a top 5 favorite horror movie picks. So if I were to ask you, which I am, because this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
What's your top 5 horror movie picks of all space and time?
Let's see. So the thing is, if it's horror adjacent, because like Jurassic Park for me counts, because Jurassic Park it's not scary at all anymore, because we've come out with much worse things. But Jurassic Park for me is a absolute classic. I love that. It's a comedy horror, but Ghostbusters. It's like a comedy sci-fi horror. So it would be those two. Let's see, for horrors. I'm going to lump them into one category, but the Army of Darkness, Evil Dead franchise. Love those. Let's see. The Thing. I absolutely love The Thing from my great Uncle John. And then I'm gonna probably it's kind of a close tie because I like Halloween because I think it's great. I think Freddy Krueger is absolutely terrifying as a character, but fast forward a few years, I think Scream is not the newer iteration, but like as a concept, like what they started with, Scream is fantastic.
I told some friends this, and I'm gonna come out in public saying it. I've never seen one Scream movie yet. Is there something wrong with me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that.
So I'll give you the argument in favor of Scream. So have you ever seen Wes Craven's New Nightmare?
I did, yeah.
You know how they're filming Freddy and Freddy comes to life and starts killing the actual cast?
Yes.
That was the precursor to what Scream is. Scream is self-aware. They all watch these horror movies and they're all like, well, these are the rules to survive. Hey, do you remember in Friday the 13th 4 when this happened? Well, we need to not do that. So it's very self-aware, and it plays that, especially in the first 2, maybe the first 3, very well.
I just never got to it. It's not because I'm anti 90s movies. I just never got to it. So now, thank you for the recommendation. Actually, no, one more before we go. Earlier, you mentioned about directors and actors from yesteryear passing away, and a whole new generation of people are learning things from the past, and they're kind of just morphing it into something different, something new, something borrowed, something blue, kind of like, those kind of things. Have you had a chance to watch the new Masters of the Universe movie?
It's on my list. I have heard great things.
And I'm a big He-Man fan. Everybody knows that knows me. But I went without expectations. So I was super happy with it. Now, here's how I would compare it to maybe it might entice you to go see it even quicker, faster. I'm gonna say it's this generation's Flash Gordon.
Okay.
Like the 80s Flash Gordon. Give me
Well,
80s
I
Flash
heard
Gordon
that
vibes.
they leaned into the cheese, which I mean, they have The Darkness does one of the theme songs. They knew exactly what they were doing. You can't go full 100% serious with a movie like this, which is where I think the 80s one kind of floundered a bit because they tried to take themselves serious. They knew what they had with this one. And the fact that they leaned into the cheesy, they leaned into some silly, I think that did it some favors. That's all I've heard is that it's just hilarious, it's action packed, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And Jared Leto didn't ruin it.
no, it was a long movie and well worth the money.
Yeah.
I saw it in the Alamo. I only watched stuff in the Alamo, so it was well worth it if you had one close to you. And then now for the $1 million question that everybody's been waiting for, the edge of their seats. For our good friends, the listeners of Bonus Overdrive Wednesday, that want to learn more about Nightmares Unbound, Howlers, Fright Reads, and when your next books are coming out, where can they find out?
They can go to hcarpenterwriter.com or any of my social medias. It's the same Facebook or Instagram, which are all linked directly to the website anyhow. That will have my event calendar once I get that fully up to date. I have one more event that's for this season, I guess, and that's Stellar Con, and I believe that will already be gone and past by the time this episode hits. So the next upcoming season that I'll have updated will be September, October, and so on. So you'll have my event calendar, my books. Occasionally I blog when I remember. And then Fright Reads for the same thing. You go to frightreads.com to see any updates for the special guests, any of the event programming, get your tickets. Alternatively, you can go to Facebook and Instagram, and that will have some updates and everything there.
Excellent, my friend, and thanks again for coming back on the show. And it's been a little less than a year, but I know doggone well I'll be seeing you in the next couple of months in Maryland at Fright Reads. I'll be there that Saturday and take a picture with you in the shirt, man. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and I'll see you in a few.
All right. See you in a bit.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
All content on this broadcast is a property of Diego the Podcaster and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, Diego the Podcaster, or Bonus Overdrive Wednesday. The information shared on Bonus Overdrive Wednesday is provided on an as-is basis, with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.